What is going on, Charles Botenston? Well, we had a little echo right there from my computer. Just wanted to obviously go live on something that I was actually thinking about and was actually discussed by Ray Dalio and Gary Vaynerchuk when he was there. And it's all about boundaries, okay? So we're going into a new year. I don't know when you're actually watching this. This could be after the new year. Honestly, it doesn't actually matter when you watch this. But you have boundaries, okay? There's boundaries in life that if someone walks up to you and punches you in the arm, you'd probably say, the hell are you doing? Why are you punching me in the arm? Or if someone inappropriately touches your spouse, your partner, or your girlfriend, you'd probably say, why are you doing that? And maybe proceed to kick their ass. I don't know, but you have boundaries, okay? You already have boundaries, okay? Boundaries on respect, boundaries on your health, boundary on your mindset, on the time you wake up, what you eat. You already have these boundaries, okay? And boundaries are good. Boundaries are really good, okay? Because really on one side is success and on the other side is your comfort zone and where you are right now. And this applies to me as well, okay? So when you get to work or when you go to the gym or when you're out with your friends, what are your boundaries? Are your boundaries, well, just take your single guy or single gal, whatever. You're out, you see the person that you want to talk to. What's your boundary? Is your boundary that you're going to maybe go near them and if they approach or there's an opportunity to have a conversation, is that your boundary? Or is your boundary that on the other side of that you say, my boundary is every time I see someone that's attractive, I go and approach them or I at least spark up a conversation or at least say hi to them. You don't even need to do the whole flirty thing and whatever else, but you have a boundary already when you're out. You have a boundary when you're at the gym. When you're at the gym, is your boundary, well, I work out enough to get a little bit of a sweat? Or are you saying, you know what, I want to improve? Where is your boundary? And that's the way that you should look at it is literally through life, we have everything we have is a line in the sand. This is what we're used to right here. And we're going to keep on getting this for the rest of our lives unless on one occasion we go to the other side and we say, listen, let's try this out a little bit, all right? Just want to make sure that audio is good to go. Okay. And once you go on the other side, guess what's there? Fear, worry, stress, but also success. And that's really what we have to look at is, okay, if I keep doing what I am doing, I'm going to keep getting what I'm getting. Okay, that has to be just drilled into people's minds. We're coming up on a new year. We have all these goals and aspirations and ambitions for a new year, or even if this is after the new year, you just have all these goals and all these things that you want to do, okay? However, if you don't change, you're not going to get anything different. If you don't do something different, you're not going to get anything different. You're going to keep on waking up at the same time. You're keeping relationships, your body, your mindset, your money, your savings. How do you save? What do you spend your money on? What's your boundary? A boundary on spending money is a perfect example, is that people, when they get, say, $100, what do you do with that $100? Do you save it? Do you spend it? Do you put it towards an investment? Do you put it towards an asset? Do you buy stock? Do you buy books? Do you buy audiobooks? You have to, this is the biggest thing with self-awareness. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about self-awareness, but he doesn't go far enough with it, okay? Self-awareness, as Peter Drucker talks about, is everything. You have to bet on your strengths. Your strengths are, okay, when I get money, what do? You have to take inventory. You literally have to say, okay, when I get it, what do I do? What's the first thing do I do? Do I go to a restaurant and just blow it all? Do I go to the restaurant and I say, you know what, let's get that bottle of wine. Let's get that extra, let's get the steak instead of, something that's less expensive on the menu. In other words, what are your habits? What are your spending habits? What are your eating habits? And that's essentially where you have it, okay? There's a respect boundary that we all have, okay? A respect boundary that if I say something and you don't like it, you're probably going to say something back. However, we disrespect our other boundaries, okay? And this is everything, okay? We have our attention. I think attention is literally the base, okay? Where do I put my attention? If we can't focus on one thing for at least a half an hour without distractions, we're never going to go anywhere. This is something that is on an hourly, a minute-to-minute basis. And as you build up that willpower where you don't need the stimulation, then your boundaries start to increase. Because your boundary when you get to work is, I just go online. I answer my email. And now you're reactive instead of proactive. When you get to work, Do you go get coffee? Do you talk with people? Do you go to the water cooler? Do you, I don't know, have a bagel? What's the first things that you do? First things that you do. Those are your boundaries. Right outside of that, but this is the thing. The only way to actually increase your boundaries, or at least narrow in your boundaries, is that you have to understand what you do currently right now, okay? Here's an example. 2 or 3 days ago, I was like, I had a ridiculous gym session. I was super hungry. Went to down there. There's a place called Fika, which is, you know, like I don't know, just like a place where they get food. Walked in and I had 2, they're known as biscottis. And, you know, ate them. Biscottis, it's like, I guess a bread, a sugary bread or whatever. And that was at like 2:30, okay? Then I got a headache at 3:30 and I'm like, what did I have? Is it because I'm tired? Is it because I'm dehydrated? Is it because I'm hungry? Or is it because I had sugar? Because my boundary for this year has been to go probably 80% of the time without any sugar for the week. And then there's 20%, which is, as Tony Robbins says, enjoying life. It actually may be less. It's probably 15%. Listen, I don't want to be perfect, okay? I want to enjoy the fun things in life. But I also don't want to get like cereal, which is completely manufactured. So I took inventory and I just said, okay, what did I have? And now I said, that's a new boundary right there, is that I can't have 2 biscottis because my brain just freaking lights up, gets a headache. I couldn't focus. I was all over the place, and I actually had to leave work early, 5:30. I had to leave work early, and I had a headache, and I was like, it was just the worst headache. It was like it was like a hungover headache. So that was a new boundary. But I had to take inventory of, okay, what did I have, and what is new in my life? Because I really don't get headaches unless I'm hungover. I don't get it when I'm tired or I'm dehydrated or I'm full or I'm hungry, okay? So the 4 areas, obviously, relationships. When you actually go out, what are your boundaries? What do you say? Do you actually ask for the number? Do you actually flirt with the people? Do you start as a friend zone? Do you get nervous? Do you not like the attention, the social pressure? We have to put social pressure on us, okay? The boundary is also eliminating the people in our lives that are bringing us down. That's just a standard. That needs to become a standard, okay? The people that are not suiting you for success, you have to get rid of. You have to just see them a little less often. You don't have to hang out with them every single night. You're not gonna feel guilty. Trust me, that's what I did. It took me months and then years to just start filtering out the people that I don't want in my life and then filter in the people that I need in my life. So right now in my life, I have people that go to the gym. They're fun, they're enthusiastic, they're energetic. They're also playing sort of on the same level that I am, but I'm obviously a little bit more insane when it comes to reading and waking up and whatever. But for me, they're a lot more fun to be around instead of the people that are talking about the news. I don't talk about the news with them. I don't even know what the hell's going on anyway, so I can't really... I didn't even know that Star Wars, did it come out tonight or tomorrow night? I don't know. It's coming out. And the only reason I knew that is, I don't know, I saw some YouTube video and they were joking around about it, about getting there at midnight. And I made a joke with the girl that was in my group. And those are the people that I want into my life. And those are the boundaries that I have. What are my boundaries? You got to be fun. You got to be enthusiastic. You got to be positive, okay? If we're going to be friends, then it's you got to be on time. You got to be respectful. You got to be fun, outgoing, contribute to the conversation. It's not just leeching, okay? If you're looking at your wealth, what are your boundaries for wealth? Where do you put your money? How much money do you spend? How much money do you have saved up, okay? You have to take inventory before you can actually change, okay? You can't say, I want more without actually looking at what you're doing wrong or right now, okay? And that's really where the focus comes in. So you say, you know what, I get to work. My boundary is no social media, no email, internet, drama, or anything. I just focus, okay? When it comes to your relationship, do you say I love you? Do you not say I love you? Are you fine with them disrespecting you? Here's the example. I'm at the gym, and this girl's boyfriend, this is such a ridiculous story. This girl's boyfriend, or she was telling me, oh, so this girl's really crazy, like whatever hair, all over the place. And I was like, that's got to get stuck in the tub because even me, I have short hair compared to what she has, you know, longer hair and whatever. I was like, that's got to get stuck in the tub. I'm like, what does your boyfriend say? She goes, he cleans it up. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, I shower and then he cleans up the tub. I'm like, he cleans up your hair? He goes, yeah. And I was like, I would never clean up my girlfriend or my partner's hair. It's their hair. They did it. She goes, oh, I trained him like that. I've trained him. What kind of boundary has this guy set in his life? What is the lack of boundaries he set in his life where it's her stuff and he's cleaning it up? That's also, where else is he just like, what? I could see if it's 1 or 2 times, but he cleans up your hair? That's ridiculous. It's like cleaning up your mess or turning off the lights or always, there's one thing, if it's joint, that's a little bit different. We switch on and off. But his boundary is, I'm a little bitch and I'm just gonna, do whatever she wants me to do. Listen, if that was the same, I had that. I dated that, a girl like that. Not the extreme, but she wouldn't have boundaries. I would come home late. I would say I would be back at the apartment at 10 p.m. and I would come home at 11 or 12. Not doing anything risque or anything, but I would push the time. I would come home and then we would, make love, go to sleep. And after a while, I didn't respect her because she didn't set the boundaries of saying, where the fuck were you? Why weren't you on time? Why are you telling me 10 and you're coming home at 11? Okay? You gotta have the boundaries. Okay? Boundaries are good when it comes to where are you focused? Okay? You have to understand that on the other side of your boundaries could be success or it could be failure. The failure is, I'm getting disrespected in this relationship by cleaning up your freaking hair, okay? And the other success is, what do you do when you get to the bar or you get money or you're out with your friends? Do you overspend? Do you pay for everything? Are you always late? I always just make a quick joke if someone's late. If they're consistently late, then I always say something. Dude, you're always late. My time isn't just there for everyone to abuse. I say it's something along those lines. The second thing, when someone is, not doing what is good, ethical, we're out, I pull them aside. My boundary is, if you're not doing something that's respectful to other people, you're kind of embarrassing the group, or you're doing something, maybe you're a little too drunk, or you're being an asshole, or you're being a little touchy-feely on a girl that we're all friends with, or it's getting a little over the top. It's like, get her number and take her out. But, we're all out, we're all having a fun time. So I pull them aside. That's my boundaries. I pull them aside. If they continue, then I publicly say, hey, Chris, knock it off. That's my boundary, okay? But the thing is, we have to understand that we already have them in place. What are they right now? Take inventory before you could change. I changed not having the biscotti at 2:30 p.m. Or if I have, instead of 2, I have 1. Or if I still get a headache, then I don't have it. Maybe there's too much sugar in there. I have no idea. But I also know that when I'm in a relationship, I'm never gonna clean up my girlfriend's hair, and I wouldn't want her to clean up mine either. That's the boundary. Okay, so leave your comments below. It's an amazing Friday. We're gonna have, listen, I'm just gonna get into this really quick. And this is sort of about boundaries and obviously how to make them and whatnot, but we are literally living in the best time in history ever, okay? People may not like the president. People may not like where they live. They may not like their job. They may not like the relationship they're in, but we are literally living in the best time, the most prosperous, the easiest way to start a home business from wherever you are. You could just pick up your phone, you can start an e-commerce business, you can produce content, you can write, you could tell jokes, you could do Audible, you could do video. And guess what? You don't need to keep the storage. And YouTube is free. All you have to do is literally hold up your phone, okay? Here's the last example, and then if you guys have any questions, by the way, Chris L., thank you. Alabaster Girl is an amazing book. This is the thing is, I posted, there's a book that I was reading, Iron John. It's not for everyone. Obviously, it's probably for my male audience out there. Iron John essentially says, and I've talked about it before, is that there's also, it actually comes down to masculinity, okay? People, for whatever reason, don't like that freaking word. Masculinity is good, okay? It's won wars. It's made us become part of the top of the food chain. If you read the book Sapiens, if it wasn't for us knowing that we exist, no one else has a conscious thought, okay? A lion doesn't say, well, I wonder if I'm gonna die today, or maybe I should reallocate my assets. No, okay? There were boundaries back in the day that, go look up John Smith. When we landed in Johnstown, I think it's Johnstown in Virginia, that was the first successful settling of, I don't know if it was England, but they came, it might have been England. They came here. 2/3 of the people died the first winter. Then John Smith, I think his name, John Smith, took over the colony and he said, here's the boundary. We work and then we play. We work is, we got to produce, we got to get shelter, we got to become friends with the neighboring tribes, we got to get food, we got to get protection, we got to have some kind of e-commerce back to England to make sure they produce, or they give us more supplies, or they give us more people, okay? There were boundaries. That's what produced things, okay? Men, we want to be competitive, we want to win, we have a vision, we have something, why, okay? This is why. When we go out hunting, back in the day, modern cities is only 2,000 years old, okay? Just think about that. Or even say 3,000 years old. That's nothing, okay? We had other Homo sapiens 10,000 years ago running around. They were like us, but they weren't as good as us. So we killed them off, okay? That's how it was. It wasn't like, oh, I feel bad. It was like, who's gonna win? And if they win, then we die. Or if we win, they die, okay? That's what it was like, okay? You might not like it, may not be PC, but that's how it is, okay? And that's the thing is, if you, back in the day, found a partner, I don't know if they had marriage back then, but, because obviously marriage is a conceptual idea, meaning, and obviously, I don't know if it was by women or by men, I don't know, but it's a brilliant idea because the woman says, this is my man, and there's consequences if you leave me, and the man says, you can't sleep around, which is great, because that's all we do. We procreate and we survive, okay? So the boundaries back in the day was, okay, I'm gonna go out hunt, I'm gonna go out, find out where the food, the berries, there might be a war, there might be a lion, there might be a tiger, there might be a snake, there might be fresh food. But while my lady is at home, I want her to understand, obviously, what's going on with the tribe. Did anyone come and visit? Is there any drama? Is there anyone trying to, sabotage the group? Because you needed to survive. You needed each other to survive. That's why men aren't as social, okay? It's not bad to be masculine. It's not bad to be feminine, okay? We need to get that through our minds, okay? So the boundary that we had was, for men, you shut up and you just get things done. That was it. There's no complaining. It was like, okay, do you want to complain? Well, we're gonna die, okay? You want to complain because we're all starving, or we all need water, or we all need to survive this winter. It's freaking cold, okay? And in the message, Alabaster Girl, they actually talked about, that's the name of the book, yeah, Alabaster Girl, they talk about, where are those men today, okay? The men that just the lineage of men, bring that forward. The men that don't complain, they just get work done. One of the best quotes I actually heard from Ryan Serhant, nonetheless, the guy from $1 Million Listing. Ryan was talking to his dad, and his dad said, or Ryan said, oh, you, because his dad used to work just like mine, really early, way too much, didn't really see him that much. And Ryan asked his dad, and he said, oh, you actually liked going to work? And his dad goes, excuse me, let's get this straight. I didn't, but I did it. I didn't like working, but I did it. They didn't have the ability to do what we're doing right now, which is 10:26 a.m. on a Friday, and be able to banter back and forth and spread ideas, get a little bit better, okay? So the reason I have this as boundaries, we need to set up some boundaries, okay? We need to set up some boundaries on how much we're gonna read, how much we're gonna do for this upcoming year, or if you're watching this after 2018, you have to understand that the biggest part of being a masculine man is that you're on a mission, and there's things that you just say no to. You say no to bullshit, you say no to TV, you say no to stupid movies, or to Netflix, or whatever. Yeah, maybe you dabble every once in a while, but that's not your main go-to, unless that's your job. You're on Twitch and you play video games, awesome, and you get money for it, or you're EA Sports and you play at a stadium. I don't know, or you're an app developer or you're a website, that's how you make your money, that's a little bit different, okay? But the boundaries, there's a lack of boundaries, okay? Set up the boundaries. Here's the last example I'll give. Probably not the last example. I had a client actually come to me, and he wanted me to do something that was a little against what I feel is my obligation as an agent to him. Okay, and my obligation is obviously a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we get the property, it's ethical, it's moral, and everything else, and obviously legal. But that's far beyond, I obviously do everything. But he wanted me to do something that, and this is a big client. I've been working with him for years. He's probably made me $100,000, honestly, over those years. So he's a good guy, okay? And he came to me and he asked me to do something, and I thought about it last night, and I called him this morning. I said, listen, I said, we're obviously good friends, everything else. I can't have that as my reputation. I'm not going to do it. That was my boundary. I actually said no. It was I could have sent him an email. I could have sent him a text message. I called him and I said, I'm not going to do it because it's not the reputation. I can't put my name to it, and that's just not how I roll, okay? That could be in your relationships. It could be with your boss. Listen, that's not how I roll. I don't do those things, okay? Those things could be something immoral or unethical or be the fall person when you don't want to be the fall person. That's what we're missing really globally, is someone that steps up and says, you know what, that's not me. Or if you're in a relationship, you know what, I'm not going to clean up your hair. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, that's something small, cleaning up your hair. But what else is he doing that she's completely just using him for? And it's not even her fault. It's his fault. Dude, set up a boundary. What are you talking about? All right? So that's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to be saying that in 5 years or 10 years when I'm on a national stage or a local stage or wherever I am. I'm going to be saying the exact same thing, probably with a better message, more refined, with better facts. But it starts now. Okay, it starts with you guys getting out there. If you're feminine, I love it. Like, I don't know why girls want to be like guys and curse. This girl literally shot me a message, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing at 5 a.m.? It's not really attractive, okay? It's not really, that's not really attractive. And then there's other girls that are just free and open and loving, and I'm like, that is beautiful. Just, it's like when a girl sees an attractive guy that leads and he's decisive and he gets shit done, and the girl goes, wow, that's great. It's the same thing when a guy sees a beautiful woman that's free and open and just feminine, and she just completely just absorbs things. You know, we are not the same. We're two different bodies. We're two different. There's hormones, estrogen and testosterone. They're two totally different aspects to our bodies, okay? Embrace it, okay? So set up the boundaries. On the other side is usually success if you have a boundary that you're not pushing, and then set up the boundaries so you're respected in your relationship, with your money, and obviously with your health and everything else. So I'm going to start going down some finances. I'm going to go down some questions. Erwin's been retracting some messages. All right. Thanks, Chris L. Erwin. Do you mean boundaries are also a form of self-respect? 100%. Listen, the boundary that you go to work and you make calls, or you go to the gym and you bust your ass. You know what I do? Once I'm done and I feel I didn't have a ridiculous workout, I do 10 burpees all the way down. So I do 10 burpees, then I do 9 burpees, then I do 8 burpees and 7 burpees and 6 burpees, and I go all the way down. Okay? That's the respect that I have for myself, where I say, I'm not one that says, oh, that was easy, that's good for the day. I make one extra call. I make one extra rep. That's the self-respect that I have for my body, my mindset, and that I guarantee, and I don't know, I can't quantify this. I can't say, oh, because I did that. It's also, do you give up? Do you not take responsibility for an easy workout or things were just given to you? And I'm not saying gifts. I'm talking about if someone gives you business, you don't say, okay, thank you. And then you try and build on that business through referrals, through asking them, hey, listen, do you need any other business? Maybe an upsell. This is all about self-respect. Self-respect comes from keeping promises to yourself. You promised you'd wake up at this time, and you promised you'd go out and not spend money. You promised that you would self-respect, keeping promises to yourself are all the same thing, along with the boundaries. So yes, great question. I didn't learn that until my first real hard breakup. You know what's funny? I'll be a little open and honest right now. I've actually never been in a relationship where I had a tough breakup. Maybe because I have the insecurity that if I get into a relationship like that, that I'm not going to be able to handle when it comes or if it comes. You know how crazy that is? So that's a self-awareness. And I've been thinking about that over the years because this girl at the gym, her friend just went through a really tough breakup, and the girl was telling me that she's been like drinking and going out and going crazy, not because she's like released into the wild, it's because she's trying to just mummify what she's going through, say, emotionally. And I thought about it, I was like, I've never had that. So that's all on me. That's all on me. So there you go. Keep on going. Also, Charles, can you do more about wealth creation? Yeah, I would say, listen, the basics are straightforward. You have to be producing income and then start saving that money. That's the basics. I can't talk about investing in real estate, how to do an ROI, understand that the cap rate has to be way above inflation or rent as opposed to expenses. I can't go into that because if we don't have the basics of $100 come in, 38% or 40% are taxes, then you have to spend about, maybe 30 or 40% of that. So you're only left with about 30 or 20%. And then from that 20%, you put 10% into an IRA and then you put 10% into savings, okay? So you have to understand the basics of income comes in, what do you do with that income? It's all about mentality. You can't build wealth if you don't have, again, the boundaries of when $100 comes in, do you spend $100? Because, by the way, you didn't make $100, okay? You're also stealing from your future. Say taxes were already taken out, you're stealing from your future because you're not putting any into the IRA or you're not putting anything into the savings. Incredible book called Slipstream, and essentially what they talk about is you make $100, post taxes, post IRA or 401k, whatever you want, post everything. What do you do with that money? If you spend all of it, it's your mentality, okay? You feel that you don't deserve $100. You don't feel that you deserve wealth. We have to work on that before we start getting into the practical step by step. And that was for me. I had to get over that because I grew up in a, say, middle class, lower middle class growing up. So I had to get over being wealthy in the future, or act as if I'm wealthy right now. So that's all, it's all a mentality. Kirsty and I totally agree, exactly. You'd like John from Simple Programming, 100,000 subscribers, does 2 to 3 videos a day. That's insane, masculinity and femininity. Have you looked into psychedelics, Alex Garcia? I have, what is it, MDMA or something like that, and then there's another one that's, I know they do trips down to South America. I did look into it because of Jason Silva, who does Shots of Awe, and he does a couple other shows. He's also on Singularity right now, and he's brought it up. I haven't done anything, maybe in the future. I have no idea. I'm not against it as long as it's safe and everything is good to go. Simple Programmer is great, watching his videos for a year now. I've never heard of the guy, but if you're talking about relationships, I'll tell you this, is that Lewis Howes, he just came out with a new book, and he's talking about the mask of masculinity, and he's talking about emotions, and we need to blah, blah, blah. Listen, that's great. But what if everyone was just emotional? No one was logical. Shit wouldn't get done. No one would, well, I want to make the building beautiful. Well, can it withstand a hurricane, say, in Miami, or an earthquake in LA, or a terrorist attack in New York? Well, I want everyone to be beautiful and good and everything else. Well, how are we going to pay for it? Okay, you need that practical side. And that's essentially what the masculinity is when you join that in. Imagine if you just did everything masculine, everything's practical, there's no emotion. Of course, that's different. If you mask it, it's tough. It's really just a way, it's an ebb and flow. You know when to release, say, emotions, or to be sympathetic, or it's not a hard and fast where it's just this. I think that's what our fathers were. But you also have to understand that if you're only emotional or you keep on being emotional, girls don't like that. That's like hanging out with one of their girlfriends, okay? You have a shoulder to cry on and everything else. No, you want to say everything's going to be all right. We're going to handle this. We're going to get through this. Instead of, oh, you're right. I don't know what to do. You know my response from not. All right, there we go. So motivated handling your own brokerage. You know what? I'll leave it on this and I'll let you guys go. I would say, how am I motivated handling my own brokerage? I don't know where it came from, to be honest. I was actually talking about it this morning, and I was a terrible student. The school was like, you shouldn't be here anymore. Like, your grades are terrible. I got an 81 average, which means that I averaged a 75 and an 85. That's crazy. Somehow got into school, and my GPA in college was a 2.9. Isn't that just above failing? You know, isn't failing like 2.5 or something? So you have to understand that I thought this is what it was going to be. I was going to just mow lawns and waiter and not make money and whatever. I think maybe the motivation is coming from just shunning the people that said, Charles is a good guy, but don't hang out with him. Parents used to say that, don't hang out with him. And I would hear it and I would see it, and they're like, oh, yeah, oh, you're going to York College? Yeah, we're going to Wake Forest, or we're going to Johns Hopkins, or we're going to Princeton or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to York College, and people would just make fun of me and whatever. And I think maybe it's to stick it to them more to I feel good about it. I have no idea. And I don't know where the motivation comes from to read as much as I do. I have no clue. Hard work was instilled from my dad, and my mom, she also worked her ass off. She would wake up. She taught in Queens at a really tough school, PS 127 in East Elmhurst, which, you know, not the greatest school. And she worked there for 26 years, woke up at 5 a.m. and would come home at 6 p.m. My dad would be gone on weekends or whatever, so I got the work ethic. I don't know if that was instilled in me, also being the youngest, I have no idea. So if you guys have any questions, I feel like it takes a massive amount of action despite the competition. Yeah, I would say what I would recommend, honestly, for the competition is look at them, understand them, know they're there, but don't ever be envious. Don't ever shoot down the competition. Look at Elon Musk. Look at his latest live revealing of the semi-truck and the Roadster. It just came out on Tesla. I think it was on Tesla. Just go to that channel and look at him. I was eating a salad yesterday before I went home. I don't know why I just threw that in there, but I was watching it, and he goes, "This is a big stick it to the gasoline cars." That was the first time I ever heard him he's brought up gasoline cars and whatever, but it was the first time that you could see that this is the reason he's doing it. He not only does he want to move humanity forward and be self-reliant on solar or wind or energy that can be self-sustained instead of, say, oil and drilling and gas and things like that, and, you know, earth materials. It's the first time that I saw. So you know that behind closed doors, he's been talking about it. So that's his motivation. He's talked about the competition. He's pretty much open sourced his Tesla car, and anyone can use it. He's open sourced, I think, SpaceX as well. So you have to understand that competition is good. Blue Origin just had their first successful, I think, suborbital, you know, goes above Earth, huge windows, and landed. Blue Origin doesn't live produce, doesn't have the big rocket ships, doesn't da-da-da-da, and that's what the comments were saying. They're like, yeah, but SpaceX, listen, competition is good. Look at what they're doing. Learn from them, but don't be envious or don't hate on them, okay? Because at one time, they're gonna come out with an idea and you're like, that's a really good idea. I'm gonna rip off and duplicate. Also known as R&D, rip off and duplicate. I ripped off and duplicated the R&D, what I just said, from Tom Ferry. So do you think you should cut down on YouTube to only subscribe to a few channels? It's easy to get caught in the, yeah. That's a really good question. I actually started unsubscribing from a bunch of channels that I, probably about 4 years ago, literally watched almost every video on YouTube when self-development. I don't really care about Kardashians and, you know, entertainment. I don't really care about entertainment. I do watch Logan Paul for his just his audacity and his ability to just get a little bit better. And I like the way, I don't look at it like, oh, I'm fun and entertainment. I learn from him. I learn from him. So I think, you know, it's tough. I just unsubscribed from 2 channels today because they produced videos, and I was like, this isn't really giving me the exponential value. And it's the same thing with learning, is that in the first 7 years, I was so dense that I needed to input as many things into my mind. Now I'm like, what's the quality? Books, I'll stop reading if it's not good or they're just rehashing ideas I already have. That happened with the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Is that it? Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I started fast forwarding on my audiobook because I'm like, I already know most of this. So I started fast forwarding. If that was 5 years ago, I would have been like, what the fuck? Treat people like you want to listen more than speak. It would have been completely new. Okay, so there's a couple of good ideas. It's also really good to rehash it, but I think you should subscribe to them and then filter the videos you actually watch. And then if you start watching videos that they produce over 3 to 4 months and it's not really giving you what you want, or you're like, this is stupid, unsubscribe from the channel. Trust me, you're not gonna lose anything, okay? For me, I understand that the quality right now is better than the quantity. I needed the quantity because I was a dense, dumb buoy in the ocean, like, what am I gonna do with life? Now I'm like, okay, how do we make this better? What is the one tweak? What is that one little thing that's gonna make my business or my life a little bit better? Okay, put my cell phone on airplane mode. You know, that was a big thing. Go to bed at 9 p.m. Put on the blue blocking glasses before I go to bed. You know, these are boundaries that I have set up in my life. Going back to the original talk of the video, the boundary that I set in my life, actually this is a better one. One of my good friends, and I remember him telling me that, and I'm like, really? What are you So we were out, I think we were watching football probably about 1.5 years ago or whatever, and he was telling this story, and it was interesting because the girl was there, and she's stunning. She's beautiful. The guy, he's done pretty well in finance and everything. He's a handsome guy. He's very disciplined. Socially, I'm cooler and fun and more engaging, but financially and his just focus is A+, it's elite. And he was telling me, or telling us, the group, and she was there, he goes, yeah, she always wants to drag me out at like 9:30 or wants to come over at like 9:15. And I tell her, I'm in bed by 9, and if you buzz, we're just going to sleep. We're not sleeping together. We're not going to be talking and gabbing and whatever. I'm not going out. I'm not. And I remember listening to that. I'm like, wow, what a boundary this guy set up. And the girl is stunning. Most people would say, she's stunning. I'm willing to break my boundaries because of this person. Or say it's a client that has a lot of money. I'm willing to break my boundaries because the client has a ton of money. I want to do business with them. Break the boundaries in maybe an immoral or unethical way. Or with this girl, break the boundaries of, yeah, I'll go out on a Tuesday at 9:30. Or, yeah, you could come over at whatever time and we'll talk for half an hour. And then we'll have sex. And then we'll go to sleep. And then I'll wake. So when I'm hearing that, I just remember this is another way of being self-aware of, wow, that's really interesting. Instead of just being, yeah, you're right, that's a good idea, or holy cow, I can't believe he does that. I looked at it as a learning experience. I said, this guy's got some really good boundaries. And I, ironically enough, picked up a book called Boundaries. Highly recommend that. And from now on, that's my boundary, is that if I go out on a date, it starts at 7, it ends at 9, and I'm not like religious with it. If it's 9, you know, but I want to be in bed by 9. And I don't have more than 2 drinks, and we go out, and to be honest, the girl needs to be worth it. That's really what it comes down to, especially during my weekdays, because my focus right now is my health, my business, and just advancing that, okay? That's where the boundaries come in. And I tell girls that. I'm like, let's meet for coffee. Let's do that. Let's meet at like, 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's see if we actually jive together, if it's on a dating app. If I met her out, like, I'm gonna tell her, I'm gonna be like, listen, we're just gonna have 2 drinks. And she respects it. And if she says, yeah, let's have another one, I'm like, no, let's go out on Friday. That's my boundary, okay? There you go, all right. Whoa, comments are coming in. I might be here a little bit longer. Do you think we could cut down on YouTube? A lot of great content creators, but too much. Yeah, listen, you have to be specific. Right now, Grant Cardone, I listen to his shorter videos. He's not really producing practical videos, okay? He doesn't really do this. Gary Vaynerchuk, still a little practical, a little bit more motivational. Tony Robbins pretty much produces the exact same thing. That's essentially where I'm gonna be going, is like, Gary's really cool. People relate to Gary. Tony's a little too far off and Grant's a little too far off. And I feel there's this middle road where he's cool and he's practical and motivating. And it's just like, that's where I'm focused in. Then there's, there's not many guys that Tom Bailey, I think is his name. There's really not many. I really like books because books, they put time and effort and it's edited down and it's the best stuff. That's why I really like books. YouTube videos are good. They're one-offs. Even here there's a lot of fluff that I'm saying. There's a lot of practical advice, but there's a lot of fluff in between. If this was a book, I would have condensed this down to like 20 minutes instead of 40 minutes. So if you guys have any more questions, Charles Your Mindset is way advanced. Listen, don't look at me as like this, Dalai Lama, priest kind of guy. Look at me as a guy that's just figuring it out as much as you guys are. And I just maybe have a little bit more books or knowledge, but that's it. I've absorbed a lot of things and then I can just deduce it. That's what I'm good at. Outside of that, don't look at me as some kind of saint or whatever. Last question, I promise, for today anyway. What do you do to relax? What do I do to relax? I would say my family. When I'm with them, my hair is down, no pun intended, and that's really when I drink. I don't really drink during the weekdays, maybe once a month. I drink during the weekdays. I'm just so focused on the business. And by the way, don't use me, okay? I also relax. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like wasting time, which is not a good thing, okay? This isn't something that you should be like, that's actually kind of good. I just have this desire to not waste time. I do not just want to sit there. That's why I don't like scrolling through social media. That's why I don't Instagram and Facebook. I don't like scrolling through that because I know it's a waste of time, okay? I know I'm making Zuckerberg richer while myself, I would rather produce the content, you guys absorb it, and you should do the same thing. Don't look at my stuff, let other people look at my stuff. And the same thing with you is that catch yourself because they make it so there's a reward center, so you get, that's a boundary as well, is that I catch myself. If I'm never on Facebook, by the way, never on Facebook. Instagram is obviously a little bit more popular now. Producing stories and whatever, there's days that I don't produce a story, but then there's other days I'm with the family and whatever. It's a great question. I don't know. How much time do you allow yourself in a day to just turn off? I would say I turn off right when I get lunch from 12 to 12:30. That's when I really shut off and I'm just zoned in on, say, YouTube video or something like that. It's hard to be on for 16 hours. 100%, no, you shouldn't be on for 16 hours. And if you saw me out, I know Erwin lives in New York City. I don't know if you guys are, but if you see me out, there's times that I'm just so brain dead. And I'm thinking in 10 years when, say, people start recognizing me, I'm like, they're going to see me at the gym or they're going to see me and he just looks zoned the fuck out. His brain is on another planet, or his motivation or his enthusiasm and energy. Obviously, it's 10:51. I have cards that I need to write for the holidays, for Christmas, and obviously Hanukkah and whatever. I'm Christian, but there's Jewish people out there and there's atheists out there, so you got to wish them a happy birthday and whatever. The key to discipline is to have that kind of boundary where you push off the stunning girl. When you're firm with your rules, yeah, I would say with anyone. I'll leave it on that. If you guys have any last questions, I'm going to hop off for now. Is that you need boundaries with everyone. I have boundaries with people that call me in the morning or text me in the morning. People are like, why didn't you get back to me? My boundary is I make calls. Come out and stay out on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday. No. My boundary is let's push the dinner to weekends. I have a monthly dinner club that we only do on weekends because when we do it during the week, I'm hungover and I'm just stuffed with shitty food, and then I wake up and it's just not a good day. So my boundary is the weekends. It's self-respect. I keep the responsibility to myself. So if you guys have any last questions, I'm gonna be hopping out. Have an awesome weekend. 2018, you guys gotta have at least one theme, whether that's keeping promises to yourself for 80% of the time, or I would say health. Just get that a little under control. And it's not even getting it under control, it's learning the negativity about it. That Sugar movie, great movie. Anything about sugar, you should watch those documentaries. Forks Over Knives or Forks Over Spoons, I think that's a good one. I've never seen it, but anything that shows, Food Inc. was a popular one, I haven't seen it, but anything that teaches you, oh, okay, here's the consequence when I have sugar. It rips out your insides, you get headaches, you get delusional. It's like with anything, it's like, if you don't make sales calls, you have no income coming in. If you don't go to the gym, you're not gonna have the enthusiasm, the energy, you're not gonna be able to sweat out all the garbage. So have one theme. This year it was health for me. I have that handled. Next year it's gonna be building out this audience and BPI's audience as well. So have an awesome weekend. Hope all is well in your realm. Do one thing this weekend that you guys fear, and that's all I can leave you with. Have an awesome weekend. Talk to you guys soon.